All right. Once again, welcome to the Transform Lexington Market Brand and the Marketing Workshop. My name is Pickett Slater Harrington. I'm with Seawall. Seawall is a Baltimore-based community developer that believes in reimagining real estate so it unites communities and launches powerful ideas. We thank you for coming to this workshop and for your interest in the application to be a vendor in Lexington Market. Applications opened last week, and they're going to be open through October 2nd. This is one of our support workshops for folks who are considering applying to be a vendor in Lexington Market. So once again, welcome. A couple of housekeeping items to think about. We have a Q&A session at the bottom. If you have a question, we ask that you go to the Q&A tab and put it there, and we'll respond to your questions in real time. And we'll also have some opportunities at the end of the workshop to answer questions as well. This session is being recorded, so you'll be able to see a recording of this on the transformlexington.com website. A couple other things before we get started. Wanted to introduce Baltimore Core. We have on the call with us Jennifer Clark, who's the Director of Social Innovation and Entrepreneurship for Baltimore Core. Seawall has partnered with Baltimore Core to help with the vendor recruitment and selection process. So thank you so much for being here with us today, Jennifer. At this time, I want to introduce our speaker for tonight, Sabrina DePest. She is a marketing director, lots of deep experience kind of helping folks think about business and marketing. And she is also a daughter, a auntie, a sister, and a friend that she goes by. So just a wonderful person all around. Sabrina, I'll turn it over to you at this time.
Thank you. Thanks, Pickett. Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you to Seawall and Baltimore Core for having me, and to thank everybody on this call that is interested in applying or interested in brand and marketing. I hope this is beneficial for you. Before we jump in and before I start sharing my screen, just want to state that this is going to be an interactive experience. So if you're watching this live, please feel free to post comments or questions, or comments in the chat, questions in the Q&A section. And also, if you have a pen, notepad, whatever you want to type with or write with, make sure that is handy as well. As again, I would like this to be a very interactive experience, and I am a huge advocate for writing things so that way it sticks and you remember. So with that said, I will start sharing my screen, and just either Pickett or Jennifer, just let me know if you're able to see this fully. All right, great, thanks. So again, welcome to the Brand and Marketing Workshop for this first round of applications. I'm very excited to be here and to share some insight and some tips for you. A little bit about me. So I'm currently the Marketing Director for MICA's Maryland Institute College of Art Office of Open Studies. We are a division of the college that produces programs for K through 12 students, as well as adult learners. And we also house 4 graduate degree programs. 3 of them are fully online. And I'm proud to say that we have been the least disrupted during COVID in our transition to online teaching. We've been able to essentially have a little over 400 students this past summer being able to learn art and design remotely. Throughout the course of my brand and marketing experience, I've worked with lots of different organizations in the fitness, entertainment space, media space, as well as some nonprofits, some of that you see here that are local on this slide. And I'm a graduate of Florida International University, which is based in Miami, where I studied business administration and concentrated in marketing. And I'm, again, very excited to share the insights that I have with you all today. So what to expect? So you came here for a reason, right? You are interested in learning some capacity around brand and marketing. You would like to understand how to brand yourselves, brand your business, and really get to the core group of the person or the people that you're trying to attract or trying to get to buy your products. So throughout this presentation, there's going to be a couple different exercises to really address these 4 components: communicating who you are, knowing the difference between brand and marketing, knowing who your target customer group is. And throughout the presentation, I'll interchangeably use target customer and core customer, core group. And also you'll be able to create a framework for a marketing strategy. And a lot of these pieces, for those that are interested in being a vendor in the new Lexington market, this is specific to a couple of questions in your application in particular. So I talked a little bit about who I am, and I would love to know who is on this call. So for those of you that are in Zoom, if you could just chat or post in the chat, who are you? Either your name, your business, and also what makes you unique? What is something that only you know that you have like a special sauce to? So feel free to post through the chat in the next couple slides. Some other things to think about, in particular for this call, is really just getting down to what is your mission? How do you want to be seen? If you are in an idea stage, how do you want people to perceive your new business? If you're pivoting, if you're selling a new product, how do you want that product to be represented in the world? And how would you like that to be presented? And also, how are you currently staying with the times while also being prepared for the future? Case in point, COVID, just being able to be agile in the way that you produce or create a new thing. So this is part of the interactive experience. I don't know if I can call on people or if there's anything in the chat happening right now, but I would love to know what inspired you to work on your business or your product. I want to understand and what inspired something that recently happened, what triggered you to explore this application, what triggered you to start a business, what triggered the idea that you have or the business that you have. And also addressing what do you want people to know about you or about your story. So I see there is Jane from Ronnie's Combo. So I don't know what Ronnie's Combo is, but also I guess if you could share your, what it is that you're looking to provide, whether it's fresh food, prepared food, if you're a retail or merchandise company or vendor, what is your business? Nope. All right, we will keep moving. So Lexington Market, right? It is one of many different markets within the city, one of many different public markets and food halls and farmers markets. So as you're thinking through why you want to be placed in Lexington Market or why you're even considering Lexington Market, I want you to also be cognizant and mindful of all of the other vendors, all of the other people that sell something similar to you. What does that landscape look like in Baltimore? And just to give you an idea, there's a ton of farmers markets, there's a ton of food halls, there's a few public markets, but one of these things, once the market does open or whatever space that you're in, regardless if it's in Lexington Market or what have you, you really want to be able to address what is the landscape like and how are you differentiating yourself between what else exists out there. I see something in the chat, but I don't know.
Yeah, so I guess it was Jane from the Ronnie's Combo, and they were just saying that, so you do have someone from Prepared Food because they prepare food specializing in breakfast, sausage, and cheesesteaks.
Awesome, that sounds amazing. That's like perfect time, it's about to be dinner, but okay, thank you so much, Jane. So perfect example, right? Prepared food specializing in breakfast, sausage, and cheesesteaks. Like, how many other people are doing something similar? What is your special sauce? What is something that that you bring to the table that really sets you apart from everyone else? So all of these pieces I want you to think about as we're going through what is the brand, what is the what is marketing, how you want to be perceived, and also how you want your customers to find out about you and to purchase from you. So what is a brand? Again, interactive, throw in your thoughts or words. What comes up for you when this question is posed? What is a brand? Jennifer, Pickett, if you all want to provide some words as well.
Okay, someone said how you are perceived by others.
Yeah.
Something you are known for.
Awesome. Yep. Cool.
A feel.
A feel. Yes, I love that. So all of those are correct. And I did a poll earlier this year with a few small business owners throughout Baltimore, and these are the results that came up of it, of what is a brand. So there's components of visual identity, there's components of a design or an aesthetic, there's components of a logo, there's other things that are related to how you want to be perceived. And one of my favorite people of all time, a woman named Bozoma St. John, who's currently the chief marketing officer for Netflix. You know, she explains how brands are like people. So if you're thinking of a person, it's, you know, how you're represented, it's how you show up in the world. It's influenced by your upbringing. It's influenced by your mission, your values. It's how you want people to perceive you. All the things that people posted in the chat, it's the feeling, it's the experience when someone interacts with you or your business or they hear about you. So to me, brand is more of like a deeper visceral feeling that you experience when you interact with, whether it's a service or a product, or, you know, going physically into a building that is branded or it's part of an organization. There is a formal definition. There's several formal definitions of brand all over the internet. This is one that I think is resonant, at least for right now. It's consistent visual, linguistic, and structural presentation of your core values and value proposition to the outside world. So what this means is that it runs through every aspect of your business, from how you choose to spend your money to the design of the logo, like the aesthetics of it. It's the value proposition is essentially what differentiates you from everyone else that's doing the same thing that you're doing. It's the images that you're using, whether it's on social media or your website or press releases. It's how you package your products. It's who you choose to employ. It's part of a brand is also the places that you're sourcing your items or your produce from. So every type of experience or aspect or person or relationship that you have is all part of a brand. And there's several components of a brand, and I'm going to talk about one in particular today, which is essentially your brand personality. This is what makes your business or your organization feels human, and it tells people how we should behave. So I will go to the next slide. And brand exercise. This is something that I've done and do with clients and internal employees and colleagues. But we're going to spend a couple minutes on this slide. And so if you do have pen and paper, write stuff down. If you want to comment in the chat, that's fine as well. But for this top row, I want you to write down 3 words that you think of when you look at this logo in the top row. The top row is Whole Foods, Lexington Market, Sprouts, and ShopRite. So feel free to post that in the chat as well, and I can do some rapid responses too. So I see national, well-known, expensive, names and businesses, all identify as markets. Valid, yes. So again, this is like first interaction with a visual representation of an organization that you may or may not be familiar with. Groceries, food, organic, okay. So again, for this top row also, actually we'll go one by one. So with Whole Foods, write down the words, or not the words, the time of day that you would frequent each of these places. So we have evening, lunchtime. Valid. Great. All right. So whenever, okay, awesome. I think pre-COVID, it was lots of different ways to access these places. All right, so second row, bottom row, there's a few logos. One of them has initials. I would like you to comment, we'll go with the first one, one by one. So the very first top or bottom left logo, write down what you think the name of the organization or the business is, and I guess a feeling that that comes up for you when you see that logo. So somebody put giant, feels like home, giant groceries, fresh food in a bowl, right? Lots of different reactions to one logo that everybody has a different experience based off of this one visual. There's not even a name associated with it. All right, so next one, this GH, same idea. What is this organization or business? And what are the feelings or words that come up for you when you see this logo? So Grubhub is correct. We're all very familiar with this, or most of us at least. Delivery, restaurant delivery, convenience. So for those of you that are in the food, you know, whether it's fresh or prepared or what have you food, I want you to keep in mind how you interact with something like Grubhub and the experience that you have. Again, all of this, the different organizations, the businesses that you interact with all have a play into the entire experience that somebody has when they purchase from you. I like treat. That is definitely interesting. All right, awesome. You guys are doing great. So third logo, what is the name of the organization or business? And what are some feelings or thoughts that come to you when you see this logo? So we have Safeway is correct. So we have reliable, old, again, groceries. Cool. And then the last logo, bottom right. Awesome. So we have Instacart is another app that you can, it's a platform where you can order whether it's groceries or, and I think there's more than just markets available on this app. But it is an app that is for convenience at the end of the day. So y'all did a great job. Kudos to you. Thanks for participating. So essentially this exercise, again, it's really, there's a lot of thought and research, and there's teams of people that are working behind how to design something. And I believe the very first workshop that Seawall and Lexington Market provided was around designing for your business. And I just want you all to be aware that there is, even though there is a lot of thought that goes into like even the color scheme that somebody uses or the design of the logo, it doesn't necessarily have to, you don't have to hire an entire design team to do this. A really good exercise is for you to be familiar with again, people or organizations that are in your space, or if it's an app or a business partner that you want to work with, really understanding the look and feel of what they're doing and see how you can marry those ideas together to, if you don't have a logo or if you don't have a name for your business, for example. But if you do, you know, it's one of those things where you want to, if you do already have a logo or a design at least, you want to make sure that it is essentially reinforced in every marketing website, any place where you want people to find out that you exist. You want to make sure that you're peppering in, whether it's the colors or an icon that's related to your business. So if at any time, I just want to remind people, if at any time you do have questions, feel free to either put them in the Q&A or the chat, and I'll try to address them as we go along through the slides. So this one, again, just to reiterate, just again, bringing it home, a brand runs through everything that you do, how your website looks, how your packaging looks, who you choose to work with, and so forth. Also how you talk about yourself. And then the other part of a brand, which I find really fascinating, is, again, this brand personality. So all of the words that folks have put in the chat are all related to, there's a ton of research around this, but there's 5 dimensions of a brand personality. And so brands fall into these 5 buckets, whether they're exciting, they're competent, they're sincere, they're rugged, they're sophisticated. So for example, a brand like Land Rover is a very rugged brand. Like all their commercials are a truck in a mountain somewhere in Arizona. A sophisticated brand for me, I would put Apple into that. It's very technical. It's, you know, it's clean. It's very minimalistic, but there's a lot of tech aspects behind it. So again, all the words, as you think about your business and how you want to be perceived and the types of social media captions or emails that you're writing to let people know about your business or your product, you want to make sure that the messaging relates to all of the feelings that come up for either you and your business or how other customers are talking about what you do. So a next slide, so we can't annotate, I don't think, on Zoom. If you do have a pen and paper, or if you just want to note this, I would love for you to throw out some ideas on how you think your product, whether it's a new sandwich or an entirely new business that you're putting out in the world, what are some visual ideas that illustrate your brand? So let's do a live example. I forgot who it was, but the cheesesteaks, the prepared food, Ronnie's, I believe, yes. So Ronnie's, for example, if you provide prepared food, like what do the images look like of this preparation or the packaging, and how are you reinforcing the care that you're doing or that you're creating into a visual representation? And all of this, like, you know, as we think about like how to market, a lot of marketing and a lot of like even putting out a plan together, it's a lot of brainstorming and it's a lot of getting your ideas on paper and seeing how it's all mapped out. So somebody says, I record video to post in Instagram stories to promote. Yes, so that is definitely an example of illustrating your brand as well as marketing. So you've already tied the two together. So I would pose the question, what types of videos, like who's in the video? What's the music like in the video? What are some elements of the video that represent your particular business or product? Awesome. Cooking cheesesteaks on the grill. Yes. Perfect. All right. So this next slide, before we jump into the marketing component, these are 3 pieces of, I guess, resources that I gravitate to often. So brand new, this website, it's by this organization called Under Consideration. But they do a ton of analysis around logo designs and how people perceive colors and how people, if you really want to get technical into that aspect of your designing or of your branding, they do a really good job just getting that, like, the feelings and the psychology behind why things are the way they are. This book by Debbie Millman is fantastic around just, everything brand thinking and how to really tell your story in a very authentic way. And then at the bottom here, it's branding.cards is the website. This is a deck of cards that literally has one word on each side. And I do this exercise a ton, especially within my job at MICA, for example. We have a lot of new courses and new products that we offer. And in order for us to be able to put it out in the world, there's a lot of research. So these cards are good for focus groups. They're good if you want to use them with your friends or family, just to get an idea on how they perceive your organization or your product. Highly recommend the brand deck. All right, I'm gonna pause there before we get into what is marketing. If anybody has questions, thoughts, let me know. All right, cool. All right, so what is marketing? So we talked about brand, right? The feelings, the experiences, all the things that are tied into who you work with, who you employ, where you source your products. I'll have an asterisk, I should have an asterisk on next to marketing, but there's no right answer to what is marketing. However, I do, actually, let's pose it in the chat. So in the chat, write down what you believe marketing is. No idea. That's why you're here, right? Okay, let's see. Getting your business product to the public, communicating to customers about your value, articulating your story. Awesome, yes. So again, same poll survey that was that I shared earlier. You know, there's components of marketing, right? There's advertising. Some people feel it's advertising. Some people think it's strictly selling. Some people think marketing is social media. Other things like emails can be marketing. So for those of you that posted in the chat, yes, that is all part of marketing. So there is a co-founder or co-author of Beyond Advertising, which is a fantastic book. Catherine explains how marketing has evolved from how do we sell the product to what is the role of our brand and the product in our intended customers' lives. So marketing essentially integrates every form of, or every method that you have available where people find out about you. So there's an obsession around customers and engaging with them in every touch point. So that means you might have an email newsletter. That might mean you have, in addition to the emails, you have a website. In addition to those two, you might have a social media presence. In addition to that, you might have 3 different social media profiles on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, what have you. So, so as business owners, as founders of organizations and products, it's really critical for you to understand what platforms do you currently exist on, or where do you want to start in order to sell the thing that you're selling. And just know that it's a truly integrative process. Official definition, action of and tactical approach to telling a story, promoting or selling products or services. So what is the action? What is the thing that you want people to do, and how are you telling that story? So these 2 or 3 examples essentially are different types of marketing, right? Like, so we have the bottom right, I'll start at bottom right, which are considered traditional forms of marketing. So that's print, that's newspaper, that's TV, those radio spots, billboards, word of mouth. And then you get digital marketing, which is more related to a digital platform, whether that's videos or influencers, social media marketing. And then the picture on the left is something really interesting. And I was debating on whether or not to show or add this slide in, but back in March, Kendrick Lamar, rapper, artist from Compton, California, launched this content creation studio called PG Lang. And when he posted this information on Twitter, which is at the top says, "Welcome to PG Lang," he immediately followed up with an image of a newspaper where at the start or the initial launch of this content studio, they produced 5,000 copies and distributed all over LA. So there's, again, this integrated experience of like, yes, Kendrick Lamar is a I guess, well-known or big name artist, but him and his team, they were able to integrate all the different assets of like, okay, we want to launch this product on March 5th. What are all the pieces? Like, how are other people finding out about this if they are not on social media, if they're not on Twitter, but they're visiting a coffee shop and they see this, this newspaper. So there's some really, really cool creative ways to integrate everything together, especially if you have a launch of a product, or, maybe you're leading up to the opening of your stall in Lexington Market and you're building a plan around that. I guess my one takeaway as we're going through these marketing slides is to, at least for me, what works really well is to reverse engineer things. So if you want to do something by X date, what do you need to get done before that X date happens? So types of marketing, digital, traditional, and then you can obviously integrate the two. To someone's point earlier, even Instagram stories and using the different tools of a particular platform, whether it's posting on the story or just on the regular feed. So exercise, again, write this in the chat or on your own piece of paper. But I would like for you to list out where you want people to find out about your business. So think about both forms, the digital aspect and the traditional aspect of marketing. You can also list where people currently find out about you. Shameless plugs in the chat are welcome. So we have word of mouth. So also with word of mouth, be very specific of who is spreading the word. Is it friends? Is it families? Is it coworkers? Is it current customers? Really get specific on who, because that's going to be very important for understanding who your customer is. What do they like? What do they do? Where do they go? Who do they visit? And so forth. So we have newspaper, radio, social media. Again, be very specific to, and you don't have to do this in the chat, but as you're thinking about where you want people to find out about you, which radio stations? Is it NPR or is it 92.3 or is it, in relation to social media, understanding your customer? Do they frequent Facebook or are they people that navigate Twitter very well or what have you? So again, be very, very specific on where you currently are or where you want people to find out about you. Cool. So marketing, again, this is a very small subset of what marketing and branding is, but as we go through the next couple of slides, I'm going to pull in two actual examples of how to essentially bring the two together. So just a quick marketing resources. So these two, so canva.com, you can sign up for a free account. And this is pre-auto-populated templates that you can use to create a logo. You can use to create social media graphics. You can create menus. You can create pretty much anything. And it's pretty streamlined. I think it's a really great free tool. And then Hootsuite is just one of many social media platforms. So again, as we're thinking about how to put together a marketing strategy, and to my point earlier, where if you have a launch date or something that you want to accomplish by a specific date, how are you planning out content related to that? what is the content that you're creating, and Hootsuite is able to essentially provide a calendar overview as well as automated posts, so that way you don't physically have to be on social media to post messages. All right, so how do you tie all of these pieces together to reach customers? I feel like it's broken down into three themes. So knowing your business, which again, this is really understanding your mission, your values, who you are, what makes you unique, what's your story. Once you're solidified and comfortable with that piece, then it's really understanding your customer, which we'll get into, and then having a plan to reach them. So who are your customers? So ideally, and in the best case scenario, your customers are, not even best case, but your priority customers are the ones who are most engaged. Somebody had mentioned word of mouth. So the ones who will spread the word about you without you even asking, they just tell their friends and families about you or the thing that they purchase from you. And they're the ones that keep the repeat customers. They're the ones that keep on coming back. For those of you that don't have customers or don't know who your audience is yet, think about who is the type of person that you would love to be reaching out to, or who is the type of person that needs to know that you exist, or who is the type of person that is dying to have, the best cheesesteak in Baltimore. So feel free to write that in the chat, or on your pen and paper. All right, nothing's in the chat, so we'll keep moving. So this one, again, use the chat function if you would like, but why do people buy your product? Or if you're in idea stage, why do you think people would buy your product? Think about the brands or the organizations that you visit, that you keep on going back to. What are the experiences? What are the feelings that come up for you when you are purchasing from a place that you love? Affordable price, yep. And so affordable price could be, it could be a differentiator, right? Where other people are selling something similar, but it's a different price. Great quality products, customer service, yep. So great quality product is something that I love. Just really I guess case in point, during COVID, I'm doing a lot of unnecessary shopping and retail shopping. And it's one thing to have an image, like it looks and feels really cool online, but then the entire experience of the package or the thing arriving, it's not great. And so, or you don't expect, when you have an unboxing experience, for example, I expected one thing and got the other. So how are you threading that great quality product throughout the entire process or the entire experience that somebody's having? Customer service, supporting small biz, shopping locally. Yes, I love it. Cool. That's actually a really good segue into this next section. So if there's anything that you also take away, it's the number one investor in a business is the customer. And this is a quote that my good friend Shaina Silva, who's the founder of She Builds Global Initiative, stated over the weekend. And it's really just, again, understanding your customer and knowing that they are the ones that are going to repeat buying, repeat visiting you, repeat service that keeps you in business. All right, so the next couple slides are two case studies that I wanted to bring up to show you like real examples of organizations and businesses that I feel like are doing such a cool and innovative thing in terms of branding and marketing, staying true to who they are and really understanding who their customers are. So the first one up is water for chocolate. So just write yes or no if you have heard of water for chocolate in the chat, just so I can get a pulse of yes, no, yes, no, yes. Cool. So split 50-50. Awesome. So Water for Chocolate is a restaurant that's based in Upper Fells Point, Baltimore. And Sean Guy is the owner and executive chef for Water for Chocolate. His experience, I believe he started this catering company called Water for Chocolate back in 2006. And then before that, he was, I believe, I don't know if he was the executive chef, but he was a chef at the World Wrestling Foundation or Federation in New York and Hard Rock Cafe in Maryland. And essentially, he has been involved with a lot of casual dining experiences. Like I mentioned, Planet Hollywood, or I didn't mention Planet Hollywood, but Planet Hollywood is one, and then also Dave & Buster's. So he has this like really cool resume of knowledge and experience and interaction and gatherings of people in a very just like cool way. And he's also a cook, right? He can make really, really good food. So he started this catering company because he wanted sexy comfort cuisine. And that's a direct quote that I found somewhere online from him. And if you've never experienced Water for Chocolate, pre-COVID, it's a very small space. It's known for a wait, but it's intentional because I think they only seat maybe like 15 or 20 people or so in the space. And the experience it's a very intimate experience. And, you know, the pictures here, the top left, for example, Water for Chocolate, pre-COVID, had been doing a lot of events centered around date nights, wine tastings, and pairing events. Again, really creating a very intimate experience for the customers. He also kept that thread of why he started by hosting events in the space. So closing up shop and having it be dedicated to a specific business to host catering events. But all at the end of the day, you know, his focus has been, you know, sexy comfort cuisine or sexy comfort food. So he was able to stick with what he knows in a way, and we'll get later to how he's pivoting and how he's tying it all together. But throughout his website, throughout the experience of even tasting the food, you can tell it was made with love, and it's a very just like great experience. At least that I have, that I've witnessed also for Water for Chocolate. So next case study is KSM Candle Company, Knit, Soy, and Metal. The owner is Letta Moore, and she found, or actually I'll post in the chat who has heard of this organization or this business. Couple yeses, no. Cool. So this is a local company, you know, made in Baltimore. Somebody did mention, you know, supporting small businesses was why somebody purchases from either you or you want them to purchase from you. So KSM, Letta started this, she's a crafter. She always has been into like hand making vegan friendly products. All of her items are high quality items that are sourced in the USA. And before she had a brick and mortar, so she has her own space right now, but before this own space she was sharing a space with Keeper's Vintage, which is a retail vintage company in Baltimore. But before that, she was selling her products on Etsy. So her audience has been this, like not even her audience, but who she is as a person is this very intentional, like crafter, somebody that really takes time to feel their surroundings and to be intentional with how they're sourcing products and so forth. And she's evolved into, and she and the brand has evolved into this really, again, intimate experience, interactive experience, where the top left picture you see here, you know, she curates candle making workshops. Pre-COVID, they were obviously in person. And then there's some other, like I've bought a ton of these candles before, and you know, there's an opportunity to repurpose them. So again, if you're thinking about your audience, like where else do they shop? What do they do? What do they like? Where else do they visit? She's able to tap into an audience that are planters or plant moms or plant dads, or, you know, people that are into, you know, having a live thing in their house. And so once the candle's done, you know, the picture on the right, you can see how it can easily be swapped into a pot for a plant. So, and her audience obviously are people that, similar to Sean and Water for Chocolate, they like an intimate experience. You can have date nights and you have candles there, and also audience or people that support, like I mentioned before, people who support local. So again, with this insight, with this information, and as you're probably thinking through who are your customers, some really good questions to answer, either mentally on a piece of paper in the chat. You know, what are the other aspects of it? Is it somebody that, okay, I keep on picking on the cheesesteak example, but is it somebody that loves like comfort food? Is it somebody that is searching for the best cheesesteaks in America? What does a person that loves cheesesteak do? What do they watch? Really just getting into like the full holistic experience of that person. So that way you're able to create products or new services that still are centered on who your customer is. How old are they? I think is a really interesting question, right? If you're thinking about the people that are shopping, whether it's Lexington Market or not, are they family? Are they college age people? Are they, you know, working professionals? Really get a pulse on who they are. That's also going to help inform where they chat, where they talk, if they're on Twitter, if they're on Facebook, if they're the type of person that will subscribe to a newsletter. All of those things are really important. All right, questions, concerns before I get into how to actually put this into a marketing strategy using the case study that I shared. Nope. Okay. So how do you blend everything together, right? There's definitely a, I think there's workshops and workshops on marketing strategy in particular, but based off of my experience and even the current work that I do, these are the questions that you want to be able to answer. What is the call to action? What is the thing that you want somebody to do? Actually, even before I get into that, like for those of you that are in the food industry, think of a marketing strategy as your recipe. Like what are all the pieces? What are all the ingredients that you need to make the thing that you make? How long does it need to sit on the pot or in the oven? Who are you serving this to? How many people are you serving it to? How are you letting people know about the food, you know, the food that it's, how are you letting people know that the food is ready? So marketing strategy, again, it's like all of these pieces into play, but what is the end goal? Who is it for? And how and when will they find out? So if you're thinking about what is the goal, you need to answer, what do you want your customers to do? And by when do you want them to take action? So again, thinking about the end goal or the end time frame, is it, if you're a new business, do you want people to subscribe to your newsletter? If you are, you know, launching a new product or you have a new sandwich or ingredient or whatever it is, do you want them to purchase that? So you really want to be able to understand and answer, what do you want your customers to do? Like, yes, you want them to buy something from you, but there is a layering phase that needs to happen prior to that, especially if they don't know that you exist yet. Another example could be, you know, maybe you have an Instagram page or a Facebook page or what have you, and maybe the first thing that you want customers to do is interact with you once a week, or maybe it's, I don't know, like, yeah, commenting on a picture or whatever it is, but you want to be able to identify what is the thing that you want customers to do and by when do you want them to take action. Who is it for? So again, focusing on your targeting and your specific message on your core customer or the person that you feel that will purchase your service. Make it very specific to that audience. One thing to note, it can be less expensive to market to your target customer versus trying to reach a new audience. For example, Open Studies, the office that I work in, we have a ton of new programming, and we're thinking through, like, is this a K through 2 audience or is it middle school audience? And our core group has been middle school. So we're focusing on middle school so that way they can help spread the word to the younger students or families with younger children. And how will they find out? So we've done a couple exercises around this, like mapping out your digital space or mapping out who purchases from you, being able to identify and know who's already talking about you or who already is on board with your idea. Being able to identify where that is important. And where will your core customers find information about you? So back to Water for Chocolate. So again, Sean started as, I want to create, sexy comfort food or cuisine and have really cool, interactive, intimate experiences with, with how people interact with the restaurant and the food and the services. So keeping that in mind, that is to his core what Water for Chocolate is about. So in the middle of this presentation, doing research on what can I include and bring this all home, and also be very cognizant of the times that we're in, and things are so different. So I was looking at their website and social media and so forth, and saw that and actually a friend of mine also shared that they are now selling picnic baskets, right? So again, if we're thinking about what is the goal, right? People can't dine in person, it's takeout only, but how are we still creating this intimate experience that we are known for, and that's why we started in the first place? So how do they were able to iterate and innovate essentially on repackaging this intimate experience by putting the things that they already do really well, which is cook really good food and have really great experiences, and put it into a picnic basket. And then on the left-hand side, they're also utilizing the fact that they purchase in bulk. So they are also offering opportunities for people to purchase produce directly from their site. So the goal here, still maintain that intimate experience, but also still keep people engaged and eating really good food. Who is it for, right? So if we take this COVID example and this washable face mask that is currently for sale, at one point, maybe a week ago, they had an option to buy a COVID box. And again, I'm sure Water for Chocolate, the whole team was really just trying to identify how can they still interact with their customers, and understanding that there's competition, right? There's Instacart, there's Uber Eats, there's Grubhub, there's all of these instant services that are packaging things. How can they be represented in that space? So if you're thinking, COVID box in mind, or who is it for? How will they find out? So again, this is something that I saw on Twitter the other day, right? Somebody had commented, what's in the COVID box? And again, thinking of all the platforms, all the things that all the platforms that you're on or have a presence in, how are you engaging with them? How are they finding out about it? Are you making it easy for somebody to, if you're posting something about a video or food that you're preparing or a thing that you're selling, are you making it easy for them to purchase on that particular platform? So is the link accurate? Again, how will they find out? Is making sure that there's an ease of experience, that customer service element is still tied into that. So to bring everything home here, especially with this Water for Chocolate idea, and I'm dying to go on a picnic, how are you keeping your customers engaged? So at your core, remember why you started. Remember what your mission is, your values. Remember why this thing is so important to you and why it needs to be out in the world. And remember that it is about the experience, right? A lot of people in the chat had mentioned customer service, great quality. all of those have a hand into why people keep coming back to you. So remember, it is really also about the experience, and to think creatively as we're all pivoting, as we're all trying to figure out and find our footing in this world. Being able to understand and know why you started and know that it's about the experience, but being able to be creative on, again, focusing on your customer and how you're able to create something new or interact with them in a different way that isn't dependent on being physically in person. Again, are you creating something like an email newsletter or a blog post or a social media caption that still keeps people informed and up to date on what you're doing? So the last piece here, this is just like a little, just a little mention that I want you all to be mindful of, especially for those in the food industry. So over the past couple of weeks, so this Eat More Baltimore is a Instagram food influencer, food blogger, and they had posted this picture of this deep fried egg roll filled with crab, and at a place called AJ's on Hanover. And AJ's on Hanover has been having, like, this item has been on the menu for years. And when this influencer, this food blogger, posted this picture, like the next day, like line out the door for hours. A couple days even after that, AJ's on Hanover made a statement saying, hey, we actually this demand has disrupted our capacity. So we actually have to no longer sell this, but we're thinking about a new way to sell this. So, so as you're thinking about strategy, and especially if you're opening up a new food stall or new brick and mortar, whatever it is, really be mindful and intentional of when you're bringing other people on board. Yes, you want outreach. Yes, you want, your information to be out in the world and on press or in the news or on the radio, what have you. But timing that there's a fine balance between timing that and also really recognizing what you are able to handle. So again, I just want you to be mindful of these questions here. How and when you want people to connect with you. Do you have the capacity or the team to help mitigate any customer service related questions? And then this last piece is what happens if social media gets disrupted or a new platform emerges. I didn't include a quote in here, but essentially there's a Nipsey Hussle quote that essentially says, when you follow me on Twitter and you get 10 million people to follow you, you just leverage your influence to add value to an app that you have no ownership in. So again, this is everybody on this call, you all are creating something in this world. It is your baby. And it is very important for you to have ownership over how you're interacting with your audience and not relying strictly on social media to get the word out. So again, an example could be an email, or maybe it's something where it's just want to find information about me, email me. So that way at least you can track and you can track the people that are actually, you track and own the emails or the contact information of the people that interact with you. I think I just have a couple more slides. Oh, additional resources. Okay, so this one is, so when you think about marketing strategy, there's a lot of pieces that go into play. For me, I like to brainstorm and put stuff on Post-its and then see the scheduling of everything. But these two project management tools have been helpful for me. So the one on the left, Airtable, I'll show you an example. So if your brain works in this format, if your brain is I need to accomplish all of these things in week 1, I need to accomplish all of these things in week 2. If your brain and sorting ideas or tasks works like this, a Gantt chart or airtable.com will probably be helpful for you, or, a calendar. Pen and paper is also the best bet. So Airtable is more of the Gantt chart. Trello.com, this is something that I really love as well. This is how my brain works, a Kanban chart. So this is Post-its, right? If, for example, at the top, you're want to launch new sandwich, what are all the pieces that need to come into play? What are the ingredients? What are the farmers or the people that you're sourcing the ingredients from? This is how my brain works. And I just wanted to be able to provide those two options for you as you're thinking through how to map all this out, how to plan a marketing strategy out. And I will stop there. I can also go back to any slides or reshare my screen for those of you that have questions, comments, concerns, anything.
And thank you so much, Sabrina, for that presentation. We'll give folks a few more minutes to please fill out the Q&A or drop it in the chat box. You gave out so much great content there. I loved your examples, Sabrina, that you gave, like the local examples and how Water for Chocolate not only kind of, embraced their brand and their marketing, but also kind of, adapted it for COVID, but it still stayed true to their kind of values there. So that really stood out to me. I actually love your quote. So the quote, Nipsey Hussle, like that's an amazing quote to kind of pull back from. And as you just,
there we go.
Thank you. And just thinking about this, like all, the folks who are here are probably business owners, and they have value that they're creating and putting out in the world. And that, creation has its own value that you want to make sure that you advance and that you can control that as well. So that's really important. Another thing that you said that really stood out to me, you asked this question earlier, was who are your customers? And I wanted to kind of point that out because that is a question in the application that we ask at point blank when we're looking at your marketing and thinking about, we're asking like, who are your customers? Who are the folks that you think you'll be engaging with and connecting with? So to kind of give that some thought is really good. So once again, please continue to fill out any Q&A and you can put it in a Q&A box or in a chat box. Jennifer, any other pieces that you want to add or any questions that you might have for Sabrina as well as you kind of think about this and the vendor selection process?
No, I think this was super helpful. You gave them a lot of resources. So I think this will be helpful. I am speaking for the people. I'm sure they could speak for themselves. You guys, go ahead and comment and ask a question. But I do really appreciate the examples that you gave that were from Baltimore. So clearly people can reference those places. Knits and Soy, the candle maker, very good. Pre-COVID, their candle making was a great thing to do for like birthday parties and stuff. I don't know what it looks like after COVID.
Yeah, they're actually doing virtual candle making workshops as well, which I forgot to mention, but yeah, they've also pivoted, but still stay true.
Yeah. So I think this is helpful.
And Sabrina, I did have one question for you. I'm not sure if you can put the slide deck back up, but you talked about the 5 kind of core, components or elements of like a brand. I don't know if you can throw that slide up a little bit. And if you could, my question is like, do you mix and match those, or do they have to be distinct in of themselves? Like, how do they show up in the real world? You gave a couple examples there. I'm just wondering about how they cross or connect at all.
Yeah, great question. So yeah, these are the 5 dimensions. I'm actually going to go to a slide that I have in my appendix that gives examples. This can be a lot for people, just an FYI. But so this is one example. So I didn't include the brand archetypes, but archetypes tie into brand personalities. So if you're thinking about, if you see these examples like the Rebel brand, right? A Rebel brand personality could equate to somebody being very rugged or very, somebody that likes to shake things up, right? So I have examples of actual people that shake things up. A Rebel brand could be Land Rover, for example. A Rebel brand could be the brand Supreme if you're into like merchandise, but they essentially put their name on Oreo cookies. They put their name on everything that has been rebranded. There's
Kanye West down there. Did you make a Kanye West reference as a Rebel brand?
Kanye West is definitely a rebel brand. Shake things up, makes people uncomfortable. A Sage brand, these are more of like higher education. I put TED Talk, Schomburg Center, Oprah. Sage brand can also be associated with sophistication. It can be associated with, so to your point, or to answer your question, Pickett, you can have a few brand personalities like excitement and sophistication. So let me just go. So for example, like I had mentioned Apple, right? I think they're a very sophisticated brand, but I'm excited whenever they have their totally forgot the name of their conference, their annual conference that talks about all the different new features. Those are very exciting brands. So yes, you can have components of, or more than one dimension of a brand. Does that answer your question?
Yes, that was super helpful, and the archetypes were it was just fabulous as well. Just kind of seeing how they all blend together to create a brand.
Yeah.
And I think I just saw a question come in. Jennifer, you want to read that off for us?
Yes. So first off, someone did acknowledge that this was a great talk, and these points and resources will be very helpful because they're in the early stages. So thank you, Alexis. And then Jane said, currently during COVID, as a vendor in the market, we are struggling to draw customers into the market. What kind of marketing strategy do you recommend to draw more foot traffic?
It's a great question, and I was waiting for this question. So essentially, what kind of marketing strategy would I recommend for somebody to come to the store, like physically in the store during COVID? Yeah, so I think of like incentives are the first thing that come to mind. So for example, a marketing strategy could be if you come to the store, your next visit or refer a friend, you get X% off, or if you want to discount or provide a coupon. That's my first go-to reaction in terms of just how to get people in, is what is the incentive? Like, how are you getting people to come out of their house to go somewhere? The other component is partnerships. So I know there's been several different events throughout the city where there's pop-up shops. I know downtown Baltimore had been trying to host a Friday night shopping experience, but I think it got rained out, like all the different Fridays that they're trying to do. So I look into partnering with other similar-minded businesses or organizations, or maybe somebody that complements what you do, to think of ways where maybe it's not physically in Lexington Market, but where else can we meet people where they are? This could also mean partnering with other people that are doing outside events. I don't know if, like for example, fitness is a thing, obviously fitness is a thing, but in COVID, there's lots of outdoor activities, outdoor yoga, outdoor, park activities. So I guess my recommendation for you would be to think through who are partners that you can collaborate with. What are other experiences that people are doing in the area where you can meet people where they are? And if you do have the capacity, what is that incentive if people actually come to your physical space or where you are?
And Sabrina, I wanted to add to this as well as, we're building the new Transform Lexington Market. It's going to be a new building, a new space. Folks can see that on transformlexington.com. A couple of ways that we're responding to COVID-19, I wanted everyone to know that, is one, we're thinking about the seating space inside the market, so definitely smaller seating areas, just to kind of keep people kind of separated. So there will be opportunities for folks to be in the market and to have seating that's separated. Another huge benefit too is that there will be takeout windows connected to the outside of the space as well. So some opportunities where folks don't necessarily have to physically kind of come into the building, they can come down to the space But that's a support and help as well. And there's a huge outdoor plaza as well that will be attached to the new Transform Lexington Market. So as you're thinking about outside events and just that ability to market and bring people down, there will be space for that. That's kind of conducive to that. So that's a great strategy, a great idea. And then the last piece is that there will be a robust digital infrastructure that will help vendors be able to connect where their customers can order and they can kind of do curbside pickup as well. So that's something else you have to think about when you're considering your brand as well.
Yep.
And so we'll see if we have any more questions. Jennifer, I'm not sure if you see any other questions coming in on the Q&A or either in the chat box. We'll give folks another few minutes to see if anything comes in, a few seconds. If not, then we'll close out. And Sabrina, we'll kind of give you the last word and maybe some kind of thoughts or advice or kind of reiterate any resources that folks might need.
Yeah, I will say, thank you all for being here. Kudos to you all for taking the step, into applying or at least considering the application, or even just putting your idea and your business out there. Like that's not a small feat at all. So I just want to commend you all for being open to this whole entire experience. In terms of other resources, if there's an opportunity, I can have like a feedback form to send out to either Pickett or Jennifer for people that attended this, just so I can understand what else are you looking for, if you have more questions that pop up, or in a couple of days if something came up for you and you forgot to ask for whatever it is. Would love to stay in touch and help provide any type of resource or knowledge for you all.
All right. Thanks a lot, Sabrina. And Jeff, you don't see any more questions? I just want to be sure before we move on. Okay, excellent. So once again, I want to thank Sabrina for coming, for having a session with us today and sharing so much great information. We really appreciate it. I want to thank everyone who actually participated in the session. This has been recorded, and we will have a recording that we'll place on the transformlexington.com website. That's your one-stop shop for everything about the project, and to not only sign up for other workshops, but also to find out about the transformation of Lexington Market, as well as the application is there as well. So once again, on behalf of Seawall and Baltimore Core, we thank you and have a good night, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.